You honestly cannot make this up. Just driving to go and get some lunch. My car's broken down. Hi guys, so the time has come where I'm clearing my house, my garage, everything. So I'm starting with the lathe is going, the lathe and my pillar drill. I've sold that to someone, the pair of them to someone, and they're coming for them now, or my friend's coming to pick them up for him now, for someone else. So we need to get these out of here, and luckily I've got my gantry so I can use that to lift it, but hopefully, I don't know if we're going to get his, like, the height for his trailer, so we'll see what happens. But first things first, I need to move my trailer out the way. I really do love these detachable tow bars. They make it so hidden and neatly tucked away at the back so you don't see it there all the time. So what I'm just doing here is lifting the front of the trailer enough that the front wheel can skid across the ground easily, because otherwise it makes it quite difficult to turn and maneuver the trailer around on your own. Pulling it backwards and forwards is easy, but like making it turn without it being off the floor is so difficult. So if you're wondering why I've got all of these plastic pallets, it's because, firstly, if you're shipping stuff to America, you have to make sure they're a certain treated pallet. So I thought it'd be easier just to get plastic ones and not have to worry about that. But then these things are collapsible pallet boxes. Now, these will really come in handy later on when I'm packing all the smaller things up. And they were incredibly expensive, like £75 each. And they're not in very good condition, but I really struggled to find anyone that wasn't scamming people. Finally, now I can move the trailer out of the way, so I'm just pulling this out of the way so my friend Ross can turn up in a little bit. So I'm just connecting up my Lodestar hoist here, which is a 1-ton hoist fitted to a 1-ton gantry system that my friend and I built in my garage. But annoyingly, we planned it a little bit too tight, so every now and again it would get pinched like this between the walls. But it was really helpful having this thing. It really made moving out a lot easier as well. I'm honestly going to miss having this gantry because there was a lot of things that I found slightly too heavy, and just having this enabled me to not hurt myself all the time lifting ridiculously heavy items. Sit. Keep going. Right, sit down. My gantry has been so helpful over the years, lifting things like this in and out of my garage. Even like when I did the driveway, lifting the ton bags of sand and ballast or whatever it was. It's just really helpful to unload vehicles like this in my garage and be able to move things about a bit easier. It's funny to me doing things like this because we'd do stuff like this at work, moving car body cranes with no tracks on, and you'd back underneath it and then lift the ramps up behind it. You're cocking right up the floor. See if the door picks up a little bit. That was pretty solid. Come on. Go a little more. No, I think it's about right there. Yeah, the weight is just behind this front wheel. This is how I always move my pillar drill, and I could only just about pick this thing up with a 1-ton sling. But this pillar drill is so heavy. It must weigh like 100 kilograms or something. And moving it around without doing it like this was really, really difficult and quite dangerous. As I said earlier, the fact that Ross and I are struggling to lay this thing down really shows how heavy it actually is. I wasn't quite strong enough to lift it here, so Ross had to lift it for me. Now that the lathe and the drill are gone, I want to start organising these red cabinets, and I've got some pallets to put them on, and I'll strap them down to those pallets. Unfortunately, I can only get 2 on one pallet, so what I'm going to have to do is do one at a time, and I'll turn the pallet around once I've done it. But my thinking with these is, I think these doors or these racks can sort of fall down quite easily because they're only held on with little clips. So I'm going to rivet these in place and then stack it and load it right up. So I've got to drill some holes, rivet it in place, and then we can put it on the pallet. Riveting these was really difficult because I had to reach round the door to try and get them, and the ones at the back were even more difficult, as you can well imagine. It's so difficult trying to do this now I've got limited room. The pallets, just everything is so awkward about it. But once I get this box on there, I can start refilling it. So for those of you unaware, as well as the pallets being an issue, something you've got to do now when sending stuff to America is you need to itemize every single item. So every one of these boxes I've had to label, and everything else I've had to label before I can ship it to America. Otherwise they won't accept it. I've got the last cabinet on the pallet now, so now I'm just about to load it up. So as easy as that, all done. So, I've got one more gap down there that I can fill, but I don't quite know what to put in there just yet because I've got most of my stuff in these 2 cabinets, or most of the smaller stuff in these 2 cabinets. So I'll lock this up now, and I think I'll try and put it out of the way if I can. Today is the day that I've been really anxiously anticipating, but we're emptying out all of my garages, my shed, and everything else that needs or can be empty today. We're going to try and do all of it. So let's go get on with it, and hopefully we'll get it all done. First things first, I put all of the pallets out of the garage that I can, and all of the larger items ready to start organising and stacking up all of the smaller bits and pieces that need to go. So these are the pallet boxes I got, and they're really handy. They fold down flat out the way, and then they fold up really easily like that, ready to start loading them up. So I kind of pre-planned this, that I could use these for all of the smaller pieces and the bigger pallets here for the bigger pieces. So these are the discs for the ransoms crawler that I have, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get them on the pallet without taking up too much room, because as you can see there, how that first one is laid is taking the whole pallet up. But ideally, I didn't want to take any more than this one pallet up for these bits of the ransoms. The set of discs are pretty much mating right now, but it didn't take any more room up than just the pallet size pretty much, so I was quite happy about that. I really and truly cannot thank my friend Ross enough for helping me with all of this. To even bring his forklift to my house and help me move all of my stuff about and load his truck up with it. He's just helped me so much over the last couple of weeks getting this done, and I really cannot thank him enough. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, you may have seen some of the photos with Ross and I and some of the fun things that we've got up to, but you might have also seen some of his really exceptional photos of things that he buys and sells, and it's just day-to-day life. He's very talented and a really interesting guy, so he's well worth a follow. Some of you may remember, but I did talk about sending a care package to America, and this is the care package. It's not quite finished, but it's nearly there. One of the last big things for me to move was my bench, and it is really heavy. Underneath the bench, as you can probably see here, there's a lot of steel stacked under there. There's a lot of steel plates stacked under there, 10mm plate, there's just so much stuff underneath it, and I didn't want to just weigh it all in because it doesn't pay enough to warrant doing that, especially with how much it all costs and how neat it just fits on there. So I left it on there because I thought it could just go like that. What I also planned was to stack this bench from my shed onto it as well, and it saved a lot of room and it created a lot of storage space. So once we'd done this, we stacked everything on there and we just banded it together like this, as you can see, with this little banding machine I bought. And it worked out really well. It saved a lot of space, and all of the bigger items were just sort of out the way on the bench. So the last thing we decided to do with this lot was to wrap it in the black cling film wrap stuff, just in case it rains, because there's a lot of money's worth of welders and things like that on this bench. This may seem ridiculous to say, but it kind of upset me actually taking this down. It felt like so much work had gone into making everything that I have here, and taking the gantry out was like a big part of it and a big expense of it, as well as a lot of headache trying to work it all out where I had the most headroom available. So taking it down and just getting rid of it all was kind of like quite sad. Some of my long-time subscribers might remember when I actually installed this gantry many years ago, and my friend Matt came up and helped me do it. But if you remember what we did, or if you haven't seen, but what we did was we lifted one beam up at a time and we put it on the lowest set of holes. There's 4 holes either end of each beam. We put it on the lowest set of holes, so we then could put the trolley up which holds the hoist, and we could bolt the hoist in properly so it was like flush to the ceiling, as you can see here. And then once we got it all bolted up like that, we then just lifted each beam at a time up to the next hole, which then put it up to the ceiling as it is, as you can see. I must say though that I'm so glad I thought about this before Ross disappeared, because doing this with the forklift took honestly about 15 minutes, something like that, to get the whole thing down, but putting it up took like a good half a day, maybe more than that. So to do this with Ross's help and his forklift made such light work of it for us all. So I'm just at the petrol station and I've just got diesel for my car, but I just wanted to point out how the black is diesel and the green is unleaded for the American people that view my channel. And this is so confusing, even for the English people, when you go to America or come vice versa, because they're opposites. You have to really think about what you're doing when you're getting fuel. Well, you rejoin me with my new container, or one-time use container, brand used. And we just managed to get my benches in there. Annoyingly, the benches are wider, or the width of the whole container, so we had to lift them in kind of crooked, and then my pump truck that I fixed came in really handy. So we're just going to try and get this against the wall down the end there somewhere, and then hopefully we can squeeze everything else in. Naturally, we've got English weather here. Perfect for ducks, of course. As I said earlier, these benches are so heavy, and between Russ and I shuffling them, it literally took both of us. Like, I wasn't strong enough to move this on my own, it was that heavy. If you're wondering why Ross didn't take them outside and go from one side of the barn to the other, just outside, it's because it was raining so much that day. We didn't want any condensate or any of the rainwater to go on everything, which might cause additional condensation in the container. I wasn't quite sure, but we were just being a bit preemptive to try and prevent that from happening. So we've unloaded the majority of my trailer now as well. So far it's fairly neatly stacked, but still loads more to go in. Nearly finished now. This pallet is one I'm shipping to America, so that's going to be coming out very shortly, just before I go. This one, I've got another one to stack on top of it, so I'm not too concerned about that because I can stack one on there. But yeah, it's very stressful right now for me. I also need to fit my milling machine in here somehow still. So we got the majority of my things in. There's still a few bits to go, but there's also one of the pallets in there that is going to be sent in the next few weeks. And also this pallet can stack on that pallet, so some of this will be reduced down, but for now we're going to go and get some food. So I hope you've all enjoyed the video. It's been incredibly stressful, and hopefully some of the next videos will be in America. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one where hopefully we'll be in America. So thanks for watching. You honestly cannot make this up. Just driving to go and get some lunch. My car's broken down just before, a couple of weeks before I'm about to move to America, so that's really irritating. God damn. So Russ has just recovered me now with his car trailer, and we've just found the hose that's gone. There's a hard plastic hose there, so what we're going to try and do is, there's a rubber little hose there, and we're going to try and disconnect the rubber, put a longer rubber hose on there, and just cut that little bit out, and then that should hopefully fix this and get me home for work tomorrow at probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. So hang on. Great. I spoke too early. The lambda sensor has blown out. I had someone do the camber and whatever on this lately. The water pump. It doesn't look like they've tightened that up, but it's blown the lambda sensor out and broken that pipe. So
game over.
Game over. So we finally managed to. I can't remember if I said what the problem was, but the lambda sensor, or whatever that sensor is in the exhaust manifold there, wasn't tightened up, and it broke the hose. But I put a new temporary hose in there, and now we're going to fill it with coolant, and I'm going to take this home 2.5 hours.